What's up, y'all? It's Hardly. I look like shit because I'm sure there's only gonna be a few people that see this, but the few people that see this, I don't know. So I was watching, I was trying to find a documentary on depression. There's a lot of them out there, which isn't bad. It's not bad. That gives a lot of awareness out to what people deal with. Um, but most of it's just like people are going to be depressed once in their life or something like that. And like, I'm someone that I've been diagnosed with severe depression, and that's a depression that never goes away. If you're not medicated, you know, you'll be depressed. Um, and I've been on medication since I was like 10, and they just throw a cocktail of medication at you and hope that it works. And I've gone off my medication two or three times, just wanting to do it on my own and be strong on my own. I didn't want to rely on medication. And I think part of the problem is that medication it makes you feel nothing. I don't like that. I don't like not being able to feel anything. Um, I like emotions. I like being happy. I don't like being sad, but being sad is a necessary thing you have to go through in life. And my brain just can't deal with that. Um, not well. I would say my brain. I can't. I can't deal with that. Um, I go into, I stay in my room all day. I mean, right now I woke up at 11 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock and I haven't left my bed. I don't like interaction. Uh, it gives me anxiety. Now I work as a server for a living, so of course I do get that interaction that I need in, but that's really hard to do with some of the things that I deal with on a daily basis. Um, Someone doesn't have. I had this one lady. She told me, she was like, "I'm very disappointed in my experience tonight." That hit home and that hurt a little bit because I strive to make all my customers have a good experience, and for someone to just be like, "Yeah, my experience was really bad," I felt bad for her. I felt bad that I did not give her a good experience. And I think that my brother explained it really well because he kind of goes through some of the same things I do, and I just overthink everything. And let's say I bump into you going down the hallway, I'm gonna say sorry. As I keep walking, I'm gonna wonder, what do they think? Like, do they think I'm clumsy? Do they think I'm stupid? Like, are they mad? Stuff like that. And and normal people just don't think like that. They don't think, you know, oh well, I cut in front of this person one time 4 years ago, and I see them in the supermarket. Like, I'm gonna avoid eye contact. I remember stuff from like elementary school, and I just feel weird approaching people if something has happened. And that's taken a long time to grow out of. I still, if I see someone I knew from school, I avoid them at all costs. I mean, I don't know, but it's just one of those things where it affects you, and you go through life, and you look back at times where you maybe weren't thinking so clearly, um, that it makes you really realize what you do, and the way you are. And it's just hard to deal with when you look back and you see the situations where you handled something totally wrong, but in the situation you thought you were right. a lot of the bad decisions I've made is because I wasn't feeling anything and I wanted to feel something. So I would, you know, go and use drugs, or I would go and, just try and be as a hard ass as I could. And it really it didn't do anything but deteriorate my life. It didn't do anything but make my life worse. And I was trying to go and make my life what I wanted it to be. Because I turned 18, I didn't know what to do, you know? I thought I would be dead. I mean, I tried to commit suicide like 6 times. I didn't plan to be 18. I didn't plan to be 20 in a month and a half, you know? And and when you turn 18 just and you're not prepared for it, it you make a lot of decisions that you regret, and you really you don't have a good foundation for the rest of your life. Because I've talked to people that really struggled with suicide in high school. Well, I mean, they still do. I mean, I still do on a daily basis, you know. I fight, and I struggle to keep my head up and to be positive. But I mean, I talk to them and they're like, I turned 18, I didn't know what to do. I didn't think I'd make it that far. And I think that that's a generation that's coming up. And I think that we need to, give them a hand. The people who didn't think they'd make it to 18, and now they're 23, and now they're living life, they're doing what they want to do. I just think that, we should give support to those who didn't think they'd make it. Because it's a real thing. When I turned 18, I went fucking insane. Because I didn't think that I would ever turn 18. I never thought that I would see a 19th birthday, you know? And I think that kids who grew up thinking they would be dead before then, they need a little bit of guidance. Because at that point, when you've gone through all that, your family just sees any sadness, any breakdown as like an emergency. And you can't go talk to people because people associate, you know, you, like with me personally, if I went to my parents and I was like, you know what, I'm really struggling today, depression is kicking my ass, and I just feel like I'm worthless, well, they're gonna go ape shit, and they're gonna call my psychiatrist, they're gonna call my therapist, they're gonna call anybody they can to figure out what's going through my head. And I feel like, sometimes that's the reaction you need to have. Sometimes you need to jump on and figure out what's happening, because sometimes it gets bad. But I've come to the point where I know when it's bad. I know when I'm going to do something. And I try, when I get to that point, I try to surround myself with people that I know will support me and help me through that time. Um, but some people don't have that. So sometimes you do need to call the therapist and call the psychiatrist or call 911 and figure out what the next move is. But sometimes, you're 18, you went to work and shit happened and you're having a really bad day and you want to talk to somebody about it. But everybody that you normally talk to, you know, knows that you have tried to commit suicide, knows that you don't like your life. Um, and they just want to try and fix it for you. And that's not what a lot of people need. A lot of people just need somebody to be there and listen to them and just kind of like go through ideas on how to fix stuff with them, you know? And I feel like depression nowadays is call suicide hotline, or, talk to your friends about it, or make sure somebody's not being bullied, stuff like that. I don't for me personally, I don't I don't need to call suicide awareness. I'm healthy enough and I'm in the right state of mind to where I'm not going to I'm not going to. I know that. And then, you know, to be bullied, I don't have to be bullied to be depressed. That's not what all depression is caused by, is being bullied. Somebody can come to school every single day, have a smile on their face, have the newest iPhone, have everything that they need, but something inside their brain just doesn't click. And when they're home, they sit in their room on that iPhone and don't talk to anybody. They don't eat because they don't want to have interaction with people. They don't go to the bathroom when they need to because they don't want to have to see anyone. you know and I think that depression has a dark, dark side that people don't talk about, because it's not the, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm not talking about the suicide part. That part is dark, and I've been there, and I know people who've done it, you know? But I think there's a part where the people who don't commit suicide, we don't really talk about what they have to go through on a daily basis. And then we don't talk about the things that are really, that are the important things that people go through. Because you don't, I mean, nobody knows. I don't even know what a person would do it, to someone who's isolated themselves. I mean, no one tries to get me not to isolate myself, so I don't know what you're supposed to do for that person, because people say no to hanging out. I say no to hanging out all the time because I don't want to leave my room. And my parents ask me to do stuff. I don't do it because I don't want to leave my bed, because my bed is my safe place, which is really bad to say. But, I think we need to evaluate the things, other symptoms of depression, instead of just suicidal ideations and suicidal thoughts and self-harm and stuff like that. Everybody really knows how to deal with that. You report it, or you talk to that person about why, stuff like that. But nobody really tells you what to tell your friend when they say they don't want to eat, or when they say they don't want to hang out, and they've been home for the past 6 days. And nobody really tells you what to say to your coworker when every single day that they come in, they look like they hate their life. And nobody tells you how to help somebody out. Everybody knows how to help somebody that struggles with suicide out. People know how to help somebody with anxiety out. But I don't think we've educated people enough on what to do when depression really takes hold of someone's life. Because I feel like the people who fight every single day to stay alive, and they fight against themselves to stay alive, they fight against their own thoughts. I think that those people, you know, they don't get as much props as they should, because it's fucking hard. It's hard to go to work every day. It's hard to face people that you've known for years, because every single time you see them, you try and fake being happy, and you have to put on a face every day. And people like that, people who just quietly deal with depression, don't get talked about, because they quietly deal with it, because they don't want anybody to know, because they don't want to feel like a burden. And I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna start making videos about stuff that would help somebody out, and try and educate more people on depression. And now don't take this as well, this is one case, it's obviously that everybody. No, everybody's depression is different. You have some of the same symptoms, but the thoughts in that person's head is different. You can't put two depressed people side by side and say that they're the same, ever. They're like snowflakes, you know. Everybody deals with emotions differently, so in turn, everybody that's depressed is different. So don't just take one story or two stories as fact, you know. Some people with depression, you know, they don't isolate. You know, I don't self harm. I don't. You know, not everybody does, and but that doesn't mean that they don't fight every day and they don't. I don't self harm, but I'm very just down on myself. You know, I blame everything on me. Mine's more a thought process than, you know. I don't feel much just because I try not to, because I know that my body doesn't deal with it well. But I'm just gonna start talking about things that people don't, because they're embarrassed or it's cliche, you know, or something like that. I'm just gonna start airing everything out about my depression, and hopefully somebody will see it and it'll help them. Because all I need is one person that I help, and that's it. Thank you.